So this is a queen cell, yes.
You're talking about where the queen lived?
Yes.
Case of a double beaks. Is she always on the bottom or?
She'll be beneath. She'll live in these two boxes, these lower boxes. And this queen excluder is what's going to keep her down there. I recommend queen excluders for new beekeepers just so that you kind of know where she is. There are many beekeepers that think that this is a honey excluder, but if you're feeding and you have a nice honey flow and there's lots of forage, this isn't going to impact your honey harvest. It's nice because you always know where she is. You know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, she's down here because she can't fit through here. The worker bees can fit through here. The drones cannot fit through here, so they'll be in the bottom boxes as well. And the queen can't fit through here.
Where do you put that at the top so that you can?
It's right here. I don't know if you can see. Right there. So this is your honey, and this is going to be their honey and their area where they live and grow babies. Okay, so any more questions about that? Yes?
Is it kind of the luck of the draw what worker bee or the sex you get in your hive?
No.
When they hatch?
No, it's predetermined by the worker bees. So it's very interesting. The worker bees will draw the cell, the comb is a specific size for the worker bee, and it's a different size for the drone bee. So the queen will measure almost like calipers with her feet to see what that size is, and then she'll lay the appropriate egg. So she can lay a fertilized egg and she can lay an unfertilized egg. And so she can kind of feel the measurement and she can say, oh, this is a boy. A boy goes here. Oh, girl, 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 girl. Oh, there's a boy. You know, and they're all kind of, the males are all kind of on the outer rim of the frame. They're not usually in the middle. This is a swarm cell, yes.
Why do you want to restrict the movement of the queen?
Well, it's mostly just a good idea for beginning beekeepers just to help them know where she is. Many beekeepers don't use a queen excluder, and there's a lot of chatter about that that's not a good thing to do, where you just leave the queen excluder off and you let the queen go up into that third box. Well, it is good. It's good to expand the brood nest as large as possible. But when you're learning, it's important to know where she is. Oftentimes, people will use a super of honey to exclude the queen down. So rather than using a queen excluder, they'll just put a box of honey on top of that. And then she won't walk across. If there's a lot of distance she has to go with closed cells, she won't walk across that. She'll kind of go back down. So it will deter her from coming up if you exclude her with honey. Do you follow me?
Yeah, but I still don't want.
Well, their nest is organized in a certain way, so you would have brood. They keep things. Well, they do. So they know what to do. You're learning what to do. So the excluder is more for you than for them. No. No, and like I said, it's personal choice. You don't have to use a queen excluder, or you can, if you want to know where the queen is.
Why would you want to know where the queen is?
Just so that you don't squish her. If you injure her in any way, if you break her leg or tweak her wing, the bees will grow a new queen and they'll remove her. And that's natural, and they can do that, but it'll put you behind about a month, and it'll put them behind in about a month's time. It takes to rear a new queen, get her mated, and have her start laying eggs. So the queen excluder, the equipment, the hive, it's for you. The bees don't care. They'll live in a whiskey barrel with a lid, or a log, or a tree. You know, this is just human ease. So queen cells. This is what a swarm cell looks like here on the left. And it looks like a big peanut. right there. Those are usually on the bottom of the frame and up on the sides. So always on the bottom half of the frame is a swarm cell. Oftentimes they grow them right on the bottom. Many people cull these. Sometimes the bees naturally just make these little cups and they just kind of are halfway made and they don't ever really do anything with them. They just make them. But if you have a swarm cell, you can divide your colony, but when you have a new colony, you want to provide room. Bees won't make swarm cells if they don't feel congestion or pressure. As long as there's space above their nests for them to grow, then they won't feel congested. When they feel congested, they'll start to make swarm cells. So as long as you're growing, adding boxes, they'll feel like there's room to grow.
So would you take that out? That was on a frame, put it in a box?
You can do a split, but with new bees, with a package of bees, you don't want to do that. You just want to cull those, clip those off, okay? If the bees begin to make these, it's really hard to control. You want to make sure that you get enough space on top of them so that they feel like there's plenty of room to grow.
So another honey box on top and you start seeing swarm yield below.
Exactly. And when six of these frames have drawn comb, then it's time for you to add another box on top. So when you begin, you're going to start in one box, and then you'll put another box on top when 6 of those frames are filled. So again, you're thinking ahead. So at the end of the week, when the box is full, you'll already have another box on, and there'll still be room for them to grow.
About once a week or so, you're prying the lid off and checking inside to see how your frames are filling.
Once a week is pretty frequent. Oftentimes you can just lift the lid and look in and make sure that your colony is growing. You don't want to dig in all the time because there are 10. So this is called a supersedure cell. And there's all this crazy bee jargon that's kind of bee specific. So supersedure is the bees are trying to supersede the queen that was there because she is gone for some reason. She died, she got squished, the beekeeper accidentally killed her. And so the worker bees are trying to now make another queen. When they do that, the supersedure cells will be on the comb face. They usually aren't on the bottom. They're usually up on the top half. So that's kind of the difference. It's also called an emergency queen cell. And if you have one of these, this one, for instance, is not going to be a successful supersedure cell because there's a laying worker in here. This is a laying worker problem when you have these drone all over the place and there's no flat worker cells. So that's what a supersedure cell looks like. It almost looks like a thumb coming off the face of the frame. When you're a new beekeeper, about every 2 weeks, yeah. But you definitely don't want to go. A brood cycle is actually 21 days. And so if you mark the day you get your bees, and then you peek in there at 22 days or 24 days, you should see a bunch of new bees hatching out. And then from there, you can kind of peek in there every 3 weeks. You'll be just behind the brood cycle, and you'll be able to see that there are new bees coming all the time. These are capped drone cells. And the drone bees are almost as long as the queen. They're a little stockier, as you can see. They're very barrel-shaped here. And the cap is a bullet shape, so you'll see these big bulges. Looks like a mountain range. And those are males. They're almost always clustered together. They're almost always on the lower part of the frame. Not always, but if you see them peppered in the center of the frame, that's not where they're supposed to be, so there could be a problem. and you will definitely want to employ or seek out a mentor to help you decide what the potential problem is. Or you can always put the frame on Facebook. There's always one of us available to answer the questions. So in the springtime, in about April and May, you'll see a lot of drone brood in your hive. If only you're seeing drone, then that's a problem. That's probably a queen failure problem, and you'll need to replace your queen. Okay? The males don't have stingers. They cannot feed themselves. They do not forage. They don't really do anything except for have opportunities with virgin queens on mating flights. Every day from about 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., they go to what's called a drone congregation area, or DCA, and they just kind of wait around and hopes for a little virgin queen to fly by for a mating opportunity. They don't survive this, but it is the way that the queen spreads her genetics. So the genetics aren't spread through the worker, they're spread through the drone. So if you've got a really nice queen that you love, then you'll want to get with a friend and maybe set up a drone congregation area as you progress, when you're 5 years in, and then you can kind of perpetuate those genetics. It's very nice. So, but otherwise, they just eat groceries, and they're not tolerated in the winter. The worker bees actually kick all of the drone bees out of the hive about the end of September, and there are no drones in the colony through the winter. So if you see drones in the winter, you probably have a queen problem. And does everyone understand why you would have a queen problem if you saw very many drones? Because the queen is losing her fertility, and so she's just laying eggs that are not fertilized, which is a male. Make sense?